Good Wednesday evening. Wednesday. I don't know what I was going to say there at the beginning. Good Wednesday evening. I'm Spirit of 420 because everything I do is so 420, including being 3 minutes late tonight. Sorry. Usually not late and usually not that late if I am, but the wife's at work. And as a matter of fact, that's also part of the reason why I'm not going to be able to do a very long show. But I wanted to let everybody know that I'm okay. A bit behind on the beard, if you will. But other than that, I'm doing okay. I'm doing better day by day. You know, I'm kind of wondering, quite frankly, and I think I've talked about it before about the Lexapro. You know, because I was not on it for like the first 3-4 months after Sky died, and I feel like I was doing okay, and now I have, you know, I'm more depressed than I've been, and I wonder, is it possible that I somehow put off the realization? Because I mean, I fucking screamed bloody murder, you know, and cried for days. I don't believe that I, by any stretch, did not feel it. So I'm trying to figure out why the delayed depression of it, you know. Does that make sense? What's up, brother? Thank you, brother. I'm not looking that good, obviously. I'm not gonna shave this shit here, but hey, I'll get to it soon enough. You know, I didn't even have time to pack anything fresh tonight. I just grabbed some big ass fucking roaches and figured I'll make do. What's up, Joey? I see you. There he is. Peace, and I love you. You know what's funny? If y'all look at the thumbnail for tonight, I originally was going to put a middle finger on there, right? Instead of the I love you, which is what I went with. But I figured the middle finger would only, I truly thought my best friends or the people that know me the best and know my sense of humor would get it based on the name. But then I thought some of them wouldn't and might take it personally. So I went with what is clearly fine. And everybody knows everybody knows I love them. So I figured, whatever. There's no fucking way I will spend fake money. Here's the funny thing, dude. I could go see Barbie for free. I have that unlimited shit. Not going to. Oppenheimer, absolutely. So I've got like 4 I'm going to see on the side. Quick note, probably in this order. Dead Reckoning. What is it? Number 7. Mission Impossible 7 actually looks very good to me. I'm going to go see Indiana Jones 5. I mean, I have to, dude. I've seen all of them. Have to go see it. I'm going to go see Sound of Freedom. Have to go see that. Too controversial and looks fucking damn good. Absolutely Oppenheimer. I said them in order, so don't think that Oppenheimer, it just came out later and I'm behind. The Flick Dick is behind on those 4 films. But I did want to talk a little bit, and just for those who are getting in, just to remind you, I cannot stay that late tonight. My wife is waiting on me to finish streaming so I can go and pick her up, basically. I think, anyway. She should text me when she's done. In fact, I'm going to let her know. So, text when you're ready. Live now. Love you. There. All right. So, for those of you who didn't see it, he said this. He asked me about Barbie. I'm not going to go fucking see. I'm not going to see Barbie at all. Period. I will not waste my time. No offense, dude. It hurts my soul to know that Ryan Gosling is even doing it. I get Margot. She's already a soulless fucking person. She does not impress me at all, and I can't stand her. Have a family day today, but had to drop. I love you, brother. And let's see, what else did he say since you're leaving? Looks like we both got family stuff tonight. Yeah, I do. Got. Let's see. Just saw Mission Impossible. Yeah, I knew it would be good. And you know why? The same guy. The same guy that's been writing like all of the good fucking shit for Tom is a guy named Christopher McGuire. A lot of people don't know that name, but that's the guy that he wrote. Let me put it that way. He wrote Usual Suspects, and everybody knows Bryan Singer for being the director. But it's the writer too, and this guy now directs. He has become a great director. Bryan has. Love you too, man. Love you more. Have a good night, brother. Yeah, I haven't watched the other one, so I'm not going to go see that. I liked the. I will say this on that note. I really dug the Conjuring series, and what was it that I watched that just unnerved me? Oh, Sinister. I watched that, and I had to stop watching those type of movies altogether. So, you know. You saw Mission? Yeah, I'm going to go see Mission in the same way. If I still can, it might not be available, unfortunately, because I waited too damn long. Sometimes depression gets the best of us. Other times it doesn't. But one of the things I was going to talk about tonight was the fact that I absolutely, and everybody, who watches knows I love movies. I'm a big movie guy. But what I find, the older I get, I don't know about y'all, but the older I get, and yeah, I'm actually drinking out of the mug tonight because I'll probably just straight up go and pick her up here in a little bit. There's something crusty on it. I don't understand. That's what she said. The older I get, the more and more I'm drawn to Westerns. Not only Westerns, but Westerns that are either almost entirely factual or at least based a lot and work very hard to present that time in a factual manner, right? And I find that, it's what I'm drawn to the most. And to give you an idea, like I love Deadwood. I'm already watching it over. I've only just finally watched it recently. When I first moved here 2019, watched it because the movie came out. So I was like, okay, I want to see them both. And it was really good. I got to tell you, I was quite impressed with the show, and the movie was okay. I think they waited too long. Personally, in my opinion, I think they should have done the movie like probably a year or so right after they finished the series. Would have been better. But hey, you live and learn. And I really love a miniseries, Misery, by the name of Godless that Netflix did. That is a great one. Actually, it got a lot of attention too because Jeff Daniels, who stars in it as the bad guy, won an Oscar. Ethan Hawke wasn't in The Conjuring. I know what you're talking about. I messed you up, and here's where it is. Ethan Hawke is in Sinister. Conjuring has Jason Patric in that series of films and that other woman I can't remember. And you'll remember that as soon as I say it. Ethan Hawke, though, was the star of Sinister. If you've seen Sinister, he was not the star of Sinister 2, and you'll know why. But back to what I was saying. Jeff Daniels won a Emmy for his performance because it was technically television, but he gave an outstanding performance, and so did everybody else, man. I kid you not. One of my favorite Westerns to watch over and over now is Godless. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched it. I've probably watched that one. I'm just saying that made me think easily I've watched that one 10 to a dozen times already. And it's not that old. It just came out, I think, in 2019. But I still love finding fresh ones, and I still love finding ones that I haven't seen yet, right, that I just missed. For instance, one that I missed was one called The Homesman. And, on a side note, just a real quick side note, I will tell you, I think the reason I'm so drawn to the Old West is how simple it was. But on the same token, there's two sides to every. I think there is a new Sinister coming out, actually. I believe it's this year, as a matter of fact. You're right. But if you know those movies, then whoever was in the previous is never in the next, man. There's one hint, so that's a bit of a spoiler there for you. Anyway, though, Westerns. Homesman is one that I found a while back, actually, but couldn't watch it. And what I mean by that is I bought it. It was $5, and it was one of those where I had the opportunity to get it for $5 HD, right? 4K on Apple TV. So I said, fuck it, I got it. But the reality was I couldn't watch it at the time, and I sat down and watched it recently. That was an outstanding movie. That was co-written. One of the head producers was also him, directed and starred Tommy Lee Jones, and it's one of the best Westerns I've ever seen. It's right up there, definitely, with The Unforgiven. I will tell you this, though, it is not for the weak stomach. He doesn't hold back, and that's what. So I said there's two sides to every coin, right? So simple, yes. Harsh as fucking hell environment. I mean, are you kidding me? You're talking about a place where people die in the streets every day, and that's normal. It's not abnormal. It's normal that people are throwing down, right? Being called out. I call you out. Like that way of life, as harsh as it was just simple. You either put up or shut up. I would love to see that way of life now again with a lot of people, because they would just be shot. No offense. They would open their mouths and it'd be like one too many times. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. This world has become, and this is only an opinion, so if you don't like it, you can go. And I'm not downing. I'm not saying this is, I believe if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. So I don't believe that this is mean. I'm just stating what I believe to be a fact of today, but that in itself, I am admitting this fact is an opinion fact, right? Because you may not agree, or you may agree. But I feel like people have gotten to the point where they are so ready to run their mouth, and there's nothing behind that. And you couldn't do that back in the Old West. The other one that was kind of a new discovery, and I knew about it, I just hadn't had a chance to watch it either, but I finally did. It was fantastic, and that's oh shit, Hatfields and McCoys. And it was that one was a mini series that was done for television as well, but it was I read about it. It was like almost purely factual. Like it was straight up. It was a dramatization, but that's the same thing you see when someone's telling you a story, right? And what I mean by that is they're sitting there, that you have a narrator telling you a story, and then you have actors acting out. What does it always say at the bottom of the screen? We used to see this all the time as kids, right? Back in PBS days. This is a dramatization. That just means it's not the real thing, and they need to know that. But these were all factual events. And man, those two families killed the shit out of one another. And it was based on running their fucking mouths. You didn't run your mouth unless you fucking were willing to throw down and put your life on the line to back it up. That day is gone. People now just talk. And it's why I keep coming back to it, but there's no action behind their words. Their words are, hey man, love you, brother. I see that you're taking off. Nice seeing and chatting a little bit, of course. And we'll talk again soon. But in the simplest of terms, man, they're willing to say what the fuck ever, and they won't put their butt on the line. That's just, I'm calling it like I see it, And I'm drawn to these Westerns because, dude, life was so much different and yet so much the same. And it's the same thing you see in our lives now, right? And what I mean by that is anybody who's even 20, right? Once you hit 20, you can start to see it. 30, 40, 50. Obviously, the older you get, the more you see it. But that's just simply because you have experience in time, right? I was born in 72. Life was so fucking different in 72. And life was exactly the same in 72. And I don't know if you get that yet. For those of you who are with me, I don't know if you get that, but you will eventually get that. And it's just, how do I say, it's El Bizarro to me to see these changes and know that this was all the same world. To look at the West Virginia, Kentucky line and to know what these two families did over nearly a 30-year period. They have officially, just on a side note, because it is a true story, I think it was '06, the documentary and the film that I'm talking about. There was a documentary and a film that Kevin Costner narrated. The documentary, starred in the film. It's done in 2012, and I'm pretty sure that it was '06 that more than 60 members of both families, living members of the two clans, signed a peace treaty, an official peace treaty. And that was 17 years ago. However, if you look it up and look up the reality of it, these families are still bitter. They signed that so that maybe in 100 years, the two families can actually like one another again, right? Because first they had to stop killing one another. And that didn't stop until almost the end of the 18th century. I should say end of the 1800s, end of the 19th century. Excuse me, little mistake there. Just before the end of the 19th century, and people still died even beyond that. If you look, if you do some reading on it, there was Hatfields and McCoys both dying mysteriously over the years. That obviously wasn't blamed on the other, but inside the family it was. And then back to Homesman. Homesman, I just want to tell you, it's not for the weak not for the faint of heart, not for the weak of stomach. I'll tell you what simply you're going to know going in. And it's a story about a woman who's solo, which is very rare anyway in the West, right? That's odd in itself. A woman who hasn't married in their mid to late 20s, right? And she is tasked with taking 3 women who have lost their fucking minds out West. Lost their fucking minds. They are straight up crazy, right? And she's been tasked with taking them back east far enough to be in a mental situation, somebody who will take care of them, right? For the remainder of their time because their husbands are done. And I don't want to say how, but she ends up appointing Tommy Lee Jones to help her, and the young woman is played by Hilary Swank. So you got Hilary Swank, Tommy Lee Jones, right? You have several other fucking great people. I'll just say this, including John Lithgow and I always forget her name and have to think of my mama who loves her. It's the great Meryl Streep. Is even in it, right? Meryl Streep never does a movie that sucks, by the way. So that right there gives you a clue that this movie is good. Now, it doesn't get the best ratings, but I'm telling you, that's because of the harshness. It's the same reason. Here's another one for y'all. And this one stars Kurt Russell, and it is. I watched this a while ago, like 2 or 3 years ago before I started doing the channel. That shit, I don't want to say nightmares, but it kept me up at night. The first couple nights, I couldn't get the imagery out of my head because it was hardcore, and it's called Bone Tomahawk. Bone Tomahawk. Man. Or Tomahawk Bone. Now I have to fucking, isn't that sad? My old ass. I'm pretty sure it's Bone Tomahawk. Just remember it has Kurt Russell, so you can just go and look up Westerns with Kurt Russell and you'll find it. But I'm pretty sure it's Bone. Yep, Bone Tomahawk. There it is. See? Can you not focus? You piece of shit. All right, fuck it. Whatever. Bone Tomahawk. I won't tell you what they give it. I will tell you this. It's got Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson as well. We were just talking about him a minute ago. Richard Jenkins and quite a few other people, man. The Richard Jenkins part really blew me away because I had not seen him in a Western until that. He was fantastic. So I will be going to see some movies. The Flick Dick will be doing some investigations, probably since I have this 3-day here. Today's Friday, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I will be off. I'll probably take the time to go see those, and then maybe Tuesday will be, let's hope that Tuesday is if all goes well and you see me streaming on Tuesday with Flick Dick, then hey, you know what happened. I will say this. I truly do believe in the positive, but even when we believe, and this is for anybody else who's maybe having a hard time, even when we have that firm, absolute belief, even a knowing, if you will, I'll take it further, a knowing that things will be better, right? It just doesn't help in the moment. And that's the weird thing. Like that's what true depression is even though you know, or at least that's what I believe that true depression is, even though you know things will get better and all you have to do is get up, right? You just have to do things and they will get better. Depression keeps you sitting there and telling yourself you're not worth it and telling yourself that these things won't work out. So if and when you ever get there, just remember, all you have to do is get up and start doing it. That's it. And things will start to get better. It sounds stupid, sounds maybe almost minuscule, or maybe even you think I'm full of shit, you know. Oh, if it was that easy. I didn't say it was easy. Simple is not easy. And I just gave you a long example of that because the Old West was extremely simple, but there was nothing easy about living in that time, right? It was brutal. It was harsh. It was barbaric in many ways. That's not easy. Simple, yes. Easy, no. We don't have the Old West and we don't have people killing us anymore. We have depression and we kill ourselves. We sit there and we beat up ourselves worse than any, you know, buddy could talk shit. I promise you. If you don't experience that, then stop fucking watching. I know I do. And I don't believe that I'm that different from everybody in the sense of it has always been, it is a well-known fact that we are our own worst enemies, right? I'm my own worst enemy. You are your own worst enemy. And when that's the case, see, they didn't have that, and let me just be realistic. Like, they thought about eating and having a home and not fucking getting killed back then, right? That's what it was. We all have that covered now, right? You're born into a family most of the time. I'm not saying all of us. There are a lot of people that are unlucky, and I know there's people in countries who are poor. They've never seen stuff, and they somehow watch me because they talk to me. All they have is a phone, but that's enough these days, right? It's a different day and age. But my point is, if you're an American, 95 or more percent of you are born into a situation, even if it's on welfare, where stuff is paid for. There's money coming in, there's clothes, there's food, there's shelter. You don't have to think about getting that stuff, right? Back in the Old West, man, like, once you were around 15, 16, it was time that you figured out some shit because you weren't going to live at home. That was like, as much as they love you. Now, I will say this, by the late 1800s, some of that had changed, and you had a lot. I won't say that it changed, but you had two ways of thinking: either keeping all the family together or forcing them out to go out and do it. It was one or the other. There really wasn't a happy medium like there is today, where, if you have 4 kids, that 3 of them are going to go, but that 4th one is just going to stay and live with you for the rest of your life. Right? So, the baby of the family, right? But again, back to what I was saying, to bring it full circle, our worst enemies now are not the same things as back then. That always changes, but we still have enemies, and it's ourselves, and I'm sure that people I'm sure people fought low self-esteem back in the Old West, but it wasn't nearly as often. Like, you didn't have time to say it in the nicest and dumbest way. You didn't have time to sit around and mope about yourself. There was always something to do, but life was extremely simple. But to give you an idea how simple it was, you had to eat. That was a constant 24-hour, 7 days a week job to make sure that there was food to eat at the times of the day to eat. Period. So the next time, and I again, just to remind everybody, if I'm saying it to you, I'm saying it to me. The next time you're down, one of the things I've found lately to really, as much as I want to live back then, I'm also very grateful after I watch it. So one of the things when I'm down, I do now is watch a good Western, especially a harsh, hardcore Western, to really remind me of what we have now and what the real problems are, right? Because they're not the same, but they are. The issues are the same, the needs and the wants and all that are the same. Like I say, life is identical in one way and it couldn't be different in another way. And that's with every 10 years to now, right? 10 years back. Certain things about life that won't change. And there's certain things that are incredibly direct. No offense, but the Matrix film says it best, right? Some things never change. Some things do, period. That is true about life in its entirety. You go back to families 200 years ago, there's certain things they're doing that I'm doing right now. There's other things, they would have never thought of, but that's just because they hadn't gotten this stuff yet. It was one of the reasons, and I'll leave it at this tonight, but it was one of the reasons I always loved the Bill and Ted movie, particularly the first one, because they brought all these people back from the past up to the present, right? And they let them loose in a mall, which pretty much has like every modern convenience as well as advancement, whatever you want to call it. It's got like everything you could possibly think of as in a local mall, especially back in the time when this was made, which was, by the way, just let everybody know, the late 80s, right? So quite a long time ago. For those of you who didn't realize it was that long. But what I always loved is how, and I know it's writing, so don't get me wrong, I'm not a fucking moron. I get that people write these stories and it's not necessarily how it would happen, right? But I like the interpretation that whoever wrote Bill and Ted gave to what these people would do. No matter how far back they were, they quickly adapted. They're human and they quickly adapted in their own particular way. Beethoven with the keyboard, Genghis Khan with baseball bat, right? I mean, it goes on and on. It just goes to show you that it really doesn't matter, right? Again, some things change, some things never change. So I love all of you. I really appreciate everybody that stopped by tonight and spoke up. I appreciate anybody else that's watching. One thing I will tell you is I've been feeling a little bit, and I don't know if any of y'all know the show Arrested Development, but it's a little show that's come out, and I'll talk about this the next couple of times just so that everybody hears it. But I loved the show back in the day, and it was one that got canceled. And when it was originally aired, it was on Fox. And in its third season, it got canceled. And just a really quick note, Ron Howard did the narration of it, so he's always talking, but he literally started talking to the people, right? The fourth dimension, if you will, when it comes to film, started talking to us like, hey, tell your friends about the show because we're going to get canceled. I'm not going to get canceled. I'm not saying that, but I really would appreciate it as if you would tell people about the show and share it. It would really help me. I'm trying to do something with this, and I appreciate the support and I appreciate the love, but the thing that would help the most is if you told somebody that you think would actually dig it, tell them about me and send them a link. I would appreciate it. I would love it. And there is still technically a contest. People just forget about it. But once I have 15 more subscribers on here, I'm going to give away quite a few items. I got 6 things to give away: 3 posters, 2 T-shirts, and a beautiful, beautiful bong. Just to remind everybody of that beautiful bong. It's just waiting here, waiting to be won. See, that even has the clear window so that you can see how dirty your water is. Anyway, each and every one of you are awesome. You're special, incredible people. I appreciate you for coming by. Thank you so much. I love you, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Peace.
I switch here, I'm a strange fuck. Consist on ain't something I could say well. Though my chance change into the wishing for a change. Well, wish your day a swell life for the next come. And when the next come, pretend that it's the best one. Like I ain't even gonna try and say that to the next one. Switch my...
I fuck